I'd first like to introduce Congressman Richard Hanna. Mr. Hanna represents New York's 22nd Congressional District. He's a member of the House Committee on Education and the Workforce, and also served as co-chair of the House Science, Technology, Engineering, Mathematics, Education Caucus. Prior to his election to Congress, Mr. Hanna owned and operated a construction business, Hanna Construction, and thus has firsthand knowledge of the needs and perspectives of business. Congressman Hanna received his BA in Economics and Political Science from Reed College, and the 300th PSM program in sustainable energy that we're celebrating today was established in Mr. Hanna's district. Congressman Hanna?
Thank you. Does this room remind anyone here of home? No? Me either. Thanks for being here. You know why you're here, and I just want to say I was with Dr. Bitterbaum the other day. If anyone has an opportunity to go to Cortland, go to his office. He is an ornithologist. I don't think he's an amateur at anything. He's one of the most eclectic and wonderful people I've had an opportunity to meet. I want to welcome Dean Mattingly and Bryce Smith. Thank you for being here today. I could talk about what it is in your field, but I'd rather talk to you about what it is I'm doing. And I would, from where I sit on my side of the aisle, I'll be candid, I am disappointed often, but have found opportunities to do some good work in spite of the difficulties you see here in Congress. One of the first things I did when I came here was join the STEM caucus, and I'm co-chair today. I also, you'll read in tomorrow's paper, Arnie Duncan and myself and Ranking Member George Miller from California will be introducing the first early childhood education bill, and I am the lead and only sponsor on the Republican side for the entire United States. And I could go into that a little bit, but I think if you're interested, follow the news tomorrow. I asked if I could have a briefing on it, and they told me it's embargoed till midnight. So, you can call me later on. I've read a lot from the kind of demagoguery about what is going on and what's wrong with the country, why we're not competitive, how we're not competitive, how the rest of the world's moving beyond us, and how expensive college is. We talk about the massive college debt and the crisis that we see growing there. And what I know is this. In the last 20 years, 98% of the jobs that have been created in this country have been service jobs. Now, when you listen to Congress talk, you would think that, and when you listen to the unemployment rates tick up and down, and New York has about 760,000 people unemployed, slightly above the national average, 7.6%. The national average is about 7.3 right now. 2% of the jobs that we have created in this country are STEM-related jobs. And yet we know that there are 4 million openings in this country. We know that through the work of Nobel laureates like Michael Spence, that if we do not create those value-added products that the rest of the world wants, we can't compete. We will not rebuild the middle class. And when you look at the talk about the distribution of wealth in this country and how it's become so lopsided, that isn't the fundamental problem in my mind. The fundamental problem is the gutting of the middle class. The upward mobility, which has always been a function of, for most people, education. It's that thing that sets us all aside. It's what they call the great equalizer. You all know this. I'm preaching to the choir, but I want you to know how I feel about it and how I work. One of the first things I did when I got here, I wrote a bill to allow everyone who goes into science, technology, engineering, and math to capitalize the cost of their education over their life. I was in construction for 30 years. I bought a piece of equipment. I wrote it off. Why isn't it the case that the largest investment for most of us in our lives is our education? Why shouldn't we be able to capitalize that at some point in our life? And why shouldn't entrepreneurs like Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, who quit Reed College, incidentally, I think he did the right thing, people like that who want to create engineers, want to create scientists, understand the value-added nature of the mind, and look at that opportunity. Why shouldn't they be able to put 100 people through any one of your universities and pay for it and write it off themselves? Because it's all value added. And why do we have an immigration law that punishes the most talented of us around the world? It takes 9 years to get a visa in this country. It's obscene. We're pushing out people we're educating, and we're telling them effectively we don't want them. Well, that used to be the case, that we had a hold on those people because they wanted to be here. Guess what? They don't need to be here anymore. They get frustrated, they leave. My point is that from my seat, there is a huge divide between that which is an investment and that which is an expense in this country. And the sooner this Congress realizes that opportunities to dedicate funds, like early childhood education, less crime, more productivity throughout their life. Every dollar you spend on pre-K produces anywhere from $7 to $9 in end value. And not only for that person, but all those things that we don't like, unemployment insurance, food stamps, that there are severe cuts going on right now, which I didn't support all of it, any of the ultimate cuts. Pick something that you look at in the social arena that has a problem. You can fix a big piece of it. 30% of the kids in this country today who are living below the poverty line are those children who don't have access to pre-K. So we need to understand that. And I think I would ask that you take a minute tomorrow, look at what Mr. Duncan is doing. This belongs to George Miller and Arnie Duncan, and I'm pleased to be a part of it. If you want to break the cycle of poverty in this country, we can fault the parents for not reading to their children. We can fault the parents for not having a value system that forces them to do those things for their kids, so when they're ready for first grade or kindergarten, that they're on par with their peers. But that isn't, for the moment, that isn't going to help, because those people are already out there with young children. We need to take the young children today, prove to them that their lives are better, let them look back at their experience in early childhood education and realize that their children need it too. It's the only way we're going to break this awful cycle of poverty and, frankly, ignorance and a lack of a value structure in this country that is diminishing the importance of education. Most of us get it. A lot of us don't. And the kind of class differences that you see growing are largely a function of access to education and a value system that supports it. So, I'm happy to be here today. I'm sure there's nothing I just said that you don't know and know a lot more about than I do. But for myself and for Cortland and the entire SUNY system, which I have Binghamton University, tremendous place. Arnie Duncan's coming up to our district, incidentally. You can tell him I said so, because he's tough to get, but he's coming up. I'd ask that you look at us in my office, ask us what it is we can do to help you, give us your ideas, watch this rollout of pre-K, and if you want to take a look at my bill on helping people write off their education, which I think is an eminently reasonable thing to do, give me a call, and I'm happy to sit down and talk with you. And I'm not an academic, but I love them. And I went to a place called Reed College, which is a very obscure. You went to Reed, right? You went to Reed? God help us, three of us. Anyway, I want to thank you all for being here. Thank you for the opportunity to just spit out a few things that I'm working on. And it means a lot to me to be able to sit here and listen to you today. And with that, I'll retire to my chair. Thank you very much.